Okay, welcome back to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. We're on the road again, and we're heading out to an event we're doing in Winnipeg, Manitoba. But this is a very special show because I have the Executive Vice President of Hospitality for our resort with us. And if you're in hospitality, meaning if you own a little motel, if you own a hotel, if you're trying to do short-term rentals, then you want to watch this show because we're at the airport 3 hours early, so I can pick his brain for everybody's benefit on running hotels and resorts. And we're going to get into it right after this.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America, and I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Hassan Rafique. He's the Executive Vice President of Hospitality. First of all, tell everybody a little bit about your experience in hospitality from the beginning, where you went to school, your jobs and everything, so they can get to know you a bit.
So I started out in a hospitality management school in France. It's located in a small village in France called Nimes. The name of the school was Vatel. I studied bachelor's in hospitality management. As soon as I graduated, I did about a year and a half worth of intensive internships in France, Bangkok, the Maldives, Seychelles, and eventually I set up my home base in Dubai, where I started out as the first e-commerce manager in the region at Sofitel Dubai downtown. And I've been working in hospitality ever since. I've grown my career in digital marketing and e-commerce. I went on to become the regional director for a core Middle East and North Africa. And in 2019, I decided to make the move to Canada. I ran a restaurant business for a few years during the pandemic. It was a tough time, and then I met Ken. And Ken had this amazing idea of bringing five-star luxury to Canada, specifically in the lakefront cottage areas and the cottage theme resorts. So I thought that was a great idea, and I joined him, and I've stayed here ever since.
All right, so what I want to do in this show is help everybody who's trying to do something in hospitality. So small hotels, small motels, cottages, everything. And so let's talk about it from two different perspectives, revenue and cost management. If we talk about revenue first, getting people to come to these resorts and making them stand out against their competitors, what have you seen that we could advise people? So if somebody has an old motel and it's not doing well, you got to attract attention to it. So what are some of the things you're seeing in the market that are going to help people to set their properties up the right way so people want to come and stay?
It doesn't matter if you're a big hotel or a small motel or you're a roadside or a highway motel. What you need to start thinking about is what is the unique value proposal you provide to your guest, which means what is the unique customer experience that he's going to get when he comes to you, and what is the price point that you're going to charge to that guest, which makes it worth their while. If you tick those boxes, it doesn't matter which category of hotels or hospitality you're in, you'll always get good customers.
Now, when people are thinking about where they want to stay, if you're talking to somebody who owns, like, let's say they own a 10-bedroom or 10-room motel and they have no experience in hospitality, they're obviously, when they first start, they're just going to be throwing darts at a board to try and figure out what the nightly room rate. And most people, the only thing they know how to do is maybe check out some other motels and see what they're charging and go from there. But there's much, much better ways of actually determining rates you can charge and you're going to get. What's some of the advice you want to give people if they're trying to figure out what rates they should charge in their establishments? Where do you want to point them? How do you want to do
so like you said, a lot of people, they see what sticks on the wall and then they go on with that rate. But what you want to do is you want to find out what is your competitor set look like. Like in your radius within 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, what are the competitors offering? Second, in the location that you are in, what is the value that you offer? For example, if you're at a highway side motel, are you providing customers a good check-in experience? Can they check in later at night and stay a 24-hour stay? Are you going to give them fresh coffee? Like small things you can do that can enhance the customer experience that allows you to charge the price that you want to make it more profitable and equitable to the both of you.
And if you're going to, say you check out your comp sets, which means your competitors in your area, and you find a price that you want to start with, it doesn't end there. It's called revenue management in the big leagues. But give some people some advice on revenue management, how you make sure those rooms get full every night. How do you adjust your rates? How often are you adjusting your rates?
In revenue management, one of the first things you need to do is, just like a daily habit, you need to log into a system and see where your revenue is, where your bookings are. What are the other people charging? And if you need to drop the rates just a little bit lower than the market just to grab their attention in business, you do it. It's called rate ascension strategy. You don't ever have to start out with the maximum rate and try to capitalize on weekends or busy days. What you want to think about is get your property full the year round. That's how you maintain a steady level of business and retain positive cash flow in your company.
The other thing is, there's another issue that new people to this, or people that don't have a lot of experience, I think a big mistake they make is, let's say somebody has a 10-room motel and they've got 8 of the rooms booked, and there's a big weekend coming up, which is a holiday weekend, and 2 rooms are not booked. They want to get them booked. What most people will do is the opposite of what you taught me. Most people will be like, oh, we got to drop the rates on those 2 last rooms and we're going to get people to stay there. We got to fill it up. But your mindset is different. The industry is different than that. So what do you guys do if you want to get this?
So like you said, Ken, when you're saying that your 8 out of your 10 rooms are full, what you're basically saying to me, your property is 80% booked and the demand in the region is high. So if you're left with those 2 last room categories, you want to yield on those rooms. You want to charge a higher rate, because what you're doing now is you're adding on the opportunity cost to get that room available last second for your discerning traveler.
Yeah, because like most people, they're panicking. They think I got to charge less to get there. But you're saying, and this took me a while to get my head wrapped around, because I didn't understand that, because I'm new to hospitality. You've been teaching me this, we go along. But you're actually increasing the rate on those last 2 rooms?
Yes, exactly, because demand dictates and the data is dictating that the property is full. That means your travelers and your targeted customers are looking to stay in those dates in your area. So you want to capitalize on that demand. That's your opportunity to increase the rate. But if you're getting somebody to book 30, 60, 90 days out, you want to offer them a lower rate and build your base business.
And then as you get closer, as the rooms become less scarce, the rates go up.
Exactly. Supply and demand. All you're playing with is supply and demand.
All right, so on another revenue point that you've really taught me a lot about is maximizing revenue with all the add-ons and services. And most people don't even go down this road because they don't realize they can actually do it. But if somebody's staying at your property, you have to figure out how you can maximize revenue by adding things to what they get.
Yep.
And if you don't have a restaurant or like a big addition, there's still things you can do. There's still other ways
absolutely.
to do it. What's some of the stuff that comes to mind for the small property owners?
It's the little things that you can do to attract the customers, to build trust with your business. Then what you do is you get your procurement right and you start adding small items, pack of noodles, chips, crisps, small prepackaged snacks. If you procure them at the right cost, you can sell them at a very good margin and offer that value to the customer. So now the customer is thinking, I'm not getting overcharged with these exorbitant in-room dining prices or convenience store prices. I'll trust the hotel more and I'll spend a little bit more at the hotel. So at the time of checkout, I paid, let's say, $200 for the room. I bought another $20, $30 worth of snacks and I walked away with a free coffee. The coffee did the job for me, right?
Without a doubt. Now, I almost want to jump right into cost management right now, but I'm going to hold off on this a bit because I want to talk about AI. We are seeing incredible opportunities with AI that we're now already implementing into what we're doing. And I don't want to get into the details of all the little nuances, but I want you to talk generally about AI, where it's at now, and why it's mandatory that anybody running a hotel, a motel, anything at all, if they're not using AI, they're going to lose. What are some of the things you're seeing with AI in hospitality?
Yeah, so AI, as you've all seen over time in the last 2 years, has become extremely intuitive. It is now at a point in time where AI is gone text to voice, and the voice has emotions involved in it, which is a very important aspect in hospitality. If you can convey the right message with the right emotion to your guest who is about to arrive at the property, to get them excited, or maybe bid them a farewell, or ask them 3 days after they check out how their stay was and everything was right, you can get AI to do these things. In an ever-evolving world of increasing labor costs, AI is your little secret to take care of customer service for your guests.
And I think the other thing too is like, and this is what people don't realize, say I'm running a small motel, 10 rooms, just barely making enough money to cover my salary, and I can't afford customer service. So a lot of these small players will try to be customer service themselves, calling their guests and things. They don't realize that you can literally set up AI to be your customer service, emailing, voice calls, messages.
Yep.
It's easier than people think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look back 10 years ago, email automation was all the buzz. That was the main way to get through to customer service, keep your customer engaged. Today, you don't even need to do that. You tell the AI bot basically the customer journey you want to have designed, and it will do that for you, and it'll keep your customer engaged by voice. Imagine having a call by a lady named Laura who is asking you how your stay was, or if you're about to arrive at the property, what your preferences are at the restaurant, or if you have any allergies. Think of the impression that you'd be making to the guest. Like the guest is going to be thinking, look at the attention of detail this hotel is providing me, right? So that's the secret.
Yeah, totally. So let's switch gears now. Cost management. And this will apply a lot to people that have little ancillary services. We're setting up a convenience store at a property we're just about to open. And you and your team have gone out and made special relationships with suppliers that have created a 60% profit margin in a convenience store, which is unheard of. So there's two things I want to ask you about. Number one, tell them a little bit about how you did that. But more importantly than that, it's so freaking important to keep your costs low. That's a big part of this whole game to maximize profits. So talk about that philosophy about like never getting lazy, you know, always be pushing it. What are some of the strategies you can think of that people can keep their costs low?
So in our world of hospitality management, you will see that there are a few big players in the market that can cater to the bigger brands and meet all their needs. And a lot of what is happening is a lot of smaller players in the world are looking at these big companies and saying, okay, we're just going to follow the best practices by these big brands. But what they don't understand is the world of purchasing and procurement is massive. You can source out products from all across the world, and you can go directly to the source, develop that relationship like we're doing for our resort business, and get them engaged directly with you. You're cutting out the middleman. The middleman would take a 20%, 30% markup or a commission. You're cutting that out of there, and now you're going directly to the source and garnering and harvesting those relationships. When you start doing that, one of the things that I realized was that these bigger suppliers are more than happy to cater to the little guy. They want to provide the best value in pricing to everybody and anybody. All you have to do is get in front of the line, cut the middleman out, and go directly to the source and develop your direct relationship with them.
The big thing I got most excited about is this one convenience store that we're opening at the resort. It's going to open this summer, and it's going to cater to the community at large. And so I wanted to make sure that we weren't a typical resort convenience store, because it's a market where they're going to be able to get all their foods, all their groceries. They could literally grocery shop in this store. But I don't want to have resort pricing. I want it to be really, really competitive pricing so people will want to come there. And even some of the people on our team didn't think it was possible, but you proved them wrong. You created a 60% profit in a convenience store selling things like meats and potatoes and toilet paper and all these things. So it's possible, but like, what are some of the secret weapons that you want to share with us?
So I'll give you guys a little secret, and that should cover about any requirement. The secret is Alibaba. Alibaba is the world's largest B2B e-commerce trading platform. So what that means is, as opposed to 10 years in the past where you had to open up a global phone directory and start calling people and ask them if they carried certain products and then get to the manufacturer, you don't need to do that anymore. Alibaba has AI enabled inside the system. All you have to do is you need to look for a manufacturer of a food product or dried nuts. I'll give you guys a small example. We found a company that creates gummy candy in bulk, right? It goes for about $1.50 a pound. $2 a pound. What we did was we spoke directly to the supplier, procured that candy, developed our own wrappers, and now we're going to package it in our own packaging. It is far more easier and simpler than you think it is.
And I think a lot of people, the minute they hear Alibaba, they automatically think China. Now, we know that the company is from China, but it's not a system where us in North America buy from China. It's sellers all over the world that are on this platform. Like, you got all of our cold cuts and cold meats from a company in Italy that's going to import directly through Alibaba.
Alibaba is present globally. We have procured our meats from Europe, Italy. Our cheeses are coming from France. Our knickknacks, candy supplies are in the States. And we're procuring business from all over the world. And the surprising fact is the prices are amazing. Because our end goal, like Ken said, I took that really too hard. We don't want to charge our customers convenience store prices. Yes, we are a gift store and convenience store, but we charge our guests the prices that you would find at a No Frills or a regular grocery store. So imagine in a 5-star environment where you get the experience but without damaging your wallet. That's the true value proposal that we offer as a company.
All right, friends, we got to go jump on a plane, but I got a question for you. I can grab Hassan and do more of these videos if there's enough people that go into the comments and say you'd like us to come back and talk about hospitality more and how to run hotels and resorts. Go into the chats and say we want more info, and we'll be back for another show. Thanks, brother.
Take care.